Good evening and welcome to the Wednesday, November 15, 2023, 5:15 regular Planning Commission meeting. The meeting will now come to order. Tonight's invocation will be given by Ms. Mosayeb and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Mr. Flores. Commissioners, please announce any item you're recusing from due to a conflict of interest or prior to the item being heard. No comments. Secretary, will you please conduct a roll call?
Vice Chairperson, if I may, if we can go ahead and do the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you.
Dear Lord, we thank you for the ability to come before you with this commission. We invite you to be here with us this evening and to grant us wisdom with each case and situation that is presented before us tonight. In your name we pray.
And now for the Pledge of Allegiance, place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Secretary, will you please conduct the roll call?
Sure. Commissioner Barcena,
Present.
Commissioner Boado,
Present.
and Vice Chairperson De La Rosa.
Present.
And just please note, Commissioners, that Commissioner Mendez will be excused from tonight's meeting unless there are any objections.
Thank you very much. All right, staff has requested that the reorganization of the chair and vice chairperson would take place under the discussion item section. May I have a motion to approve the agenda of this change?
I motion to approve the change.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I second that motion to approve the change to agenda.
Perfect. Anyone opposed? Nay. Seeing no one, the agenda will be approved with this change. All right, we will now begin with item number 1 on the agenda. At this time, I will open public hearing at, let's see, at 5:23 p.m. May we have the staff report, please, Ms. Mosayeb?
Good evening, everyone, commissioners, staff, and public. For the record, my name is Mona Mosayeb, Associate Planner with the Bell Gardens Planning Division. And this is, let me share the screen. And tonight's presentation is to discuss site plan review 2023-036, a proposed new automobile repair facility off-site parking lot at 7629 Perry Road. The applicant is requesting, first, finding the project categorically exempt from California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, pursuant its guidelines, Class 32 infill development, and second, approving site plan review 2023-036 to authorize the proposed development of a new customer automobile repair facility off-site parking lot. As mentioned, the subject site is located at 7629 Perry Road within the M1 light industrial zone, with the surrounding land use designation of industrial. The surrounding land uses are to the north, industrial, to the south, industrial, to the east, high density residential, and to the west, industrial. It is of note that on the northern side, there is a legal non-conforming residential development. As shown in this Google image grab, the site is vacant with no intentional vegetation or landscaping. It has been vacant for over 15 years. To provide a bit of context on this proposal, Vehicular overspill onto on-street parking from auto shop businesses is a nuisance to their surrounding neighborhoods. By developing the subject site that has been vacant for over 15 years, vehicles could be located onto a secure and enclosed site, reducing on-street presence. And third, ordinance number 937, once effective, would support this proposal by its expansion of definition and uses. The proposed location, the subject site is 248 feet from the primary auto shop business, and it would be supported by ordinance number 937, once effective on November 22nd, 2023. As this ordinance specifies that the ancillary parking site must be within 500 feet of the primary business, this location is within that guidance. The subject site would be improved with a concrete pavement pursuant to condition approval number 60, a 6-foot-high solid decorative masonry perimeter wall, a 6-foot-high solid gate, 9 striped parking spaces, and 300 square feet of drought-tolerant landscaping at the front of the site. The elevations provide a glimpse into the proposed improvements and enclosure of the site. Essentially, it will be a completely walled off and enclosed parking. For staff analysis, we reveal that the applicant's request is consistent with the Bell Gardens general plan. Land use element, firstly, policy number 4, the city shall encourage property owners to maintain and rehabilitate existing industrial uses, and the city shall encourage private investment in the city's industrial economic base while ensuring compliance with necessary environmental requirements. And secondly, policy number 5, the city shall provide an environment to stimulate local employment, property values, community stability, and the economic vitality of existing local businesses. Continued analysis notes that the proposed project conforms with all applicable development standards found in the Bell Gardens Municipal Code, specifically 9.14.030 permitted uses, 9.14.040 the development standards for industrial properties, 9.28.101 automobile storage, 932.090 block wall development standards, and finally 9.34.030 minimum landscaping requirements. And finally, the applicant must comply with resolution PC 2023-17, condition number 4. Approval of the site plan review number 2023-036 shall be subject to the effectiveness of ordinance number 937, which, unless appealed, would become effective November 22nd, 2023. It is the Planning Division's staff recommendation that the Planning Commission adopt Planning Commission Resolution 2023-17, approving the following. 1, find the project categorically exempt from the CEQA pursuant CEQA guidelines, class 32 infill development. And 2, approve the site plan review number 2023-036 to authorize the development of new customer automobile repair facility offsite parking at 7629 Perry Road. This concludes the staff's presentation. We are open to any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the report. Commissioners, any questions? I have a question. Since the lot will be including 9 designated parking slots, would the applicant also be able to utilize the parking in a way where they can tandem park at the same time, to maximize the use of the space, or will they only be restricted to use those 9 parking slots?
Unfortunately, we won't have, unless we show up on site to do inspections, We won't know how it'll be. Tandem parking is prohibited in the city of Bell Gardens. But we have spoken to the applicant and they are designating 9 parking spaces and intend to use the 9 parking spaces.
Perfect, thank you.
Just a follow-up on that question, based on the image, that's, or the site plan, I noticed there's only 9 spots, but there's other space which I think is just kind of like a driveway. Have we talked to them about how they're gonna use that space, or is that just the driveway, or what is going to be there?
I'm just pulling up that image so others can reference it. There is a required backup space
Okay.
for all parking. And so this is a part of that designated backup space. And the applicant worked on many configurations and this was the configuration that worked best for them. Both in terms of moving vehicles in and out of the site. So beyond that, they are observing the code and the backup space.
And I did have another question, just because I couldn't find it, and maybe it'd be quicker to see it on the presentation. Just the distance, or that map showing the distance away from the current facility. Okay.
So the primary business is located on Clara Street and the parking is, to round up, 250 feet away.
Thank you.
Commissioners, any more questions? No questions? All right. Since there are no more questions, we will now open public comments for this item. Secretary, will you please announce the instructions for public participation?
The members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on the public hearing item number 1. Please state your name for the record before addressing your comments to the members of the Planning Commission. Each speaker written comments are limited to 3 minutes. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone. When instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining through the Zoom app may request to make a comment by using the raise hand feature on Zoom and select the unmute or microphone icon when instructed. We will begin to hear from members of the public that are physically present in the council chambers. If you haven't done so already, please submit your comment cards now. And Vice Chairperson, we did not receive any comment cards. We can go ahead and see if we have anybody in the chat line wishing to speak on this item.
All right, perfect.
I don't see anybody in the chat line wishing to speak. I also did want to mention that we did receive 1 email comment, and that email comment was, a copy was given to each one of the commissioners. And I can go ahead and read that comment. The comment did come from Madalena Guerrero, stating the masonry wall you are requesting around the parking area would be a welcome improvement to its current state. All other businesses in Bell Gardens should be required to install some sort of privacy slates on their existing chain link or metal fences. The stored autos, construction materials, or other unattractive materials should not be visible from the outside. A business that has always done this correctly is located at 6420 Florence Avenue with the fence portion on Crest Avenue. It looks professional and neat despite all the construction materials inside. And she did provide a photo that was attached for your reference.
All right, thank you very much. All right, if there's no objections by the Planning Commission, I will now close public participation. Perfect. May I have a motion to approve staff's recommendation as noted in the staff report?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the staff's recommendation for the Planning Commission Resolution PC 2023-17.
All right, awesome. May I have a second?
I second that motion.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I would also like to note that public hearing will be closed at 5:35. If there are no more comments, no, perfect. All right, Planning Secretary, will you please conduct a roll call vote?
Sure. Commissioner Barcena,
Yes.
Commissioner Boado,
Yes.
and Vice Chairperson De La Rosa.
Yes,
3-0, motion passes.
thank you. And we will now open for items listed on the agenda. Secretary, you would please announce the instructions for public participation.
The members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on agenda items. Please state your name for the record before addressing your comments to the members of the Planning Commission. Each speaker and written comments are limited to 3 minutes. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *6 from your phone. When instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining through the Zoom app may request to make a comment by using the raise hand feature on Zoom and select the unmute or microphone icon when instructed. We will begin to hear from members of the public that are physically present in the council chambers. If you haven't done so already, please submit your comment cards now. And Vice Chairperson, we did not receive any comments. And let me see if there's anybody in the chat line wishing to speak on agenda items. And I see none.
Okay, thank you very much. If there's no objection by the Planning Commission, I will now close public participation for the agendized items. All right, and now we will move over to the consent calendar. Does any member of the Planning Commission wish to pull out any item for separate discussion? If not, may I have a motion to approve item number 2 on the consent calendar, please?
I'd like to make a motion to approve item number 2, approval of October 18th, 2023 Planning Commission minutes.
Awesome. May I have a second?
I second that motion.
Perfect. Planning Secretary, will you please conduct a roll call vote?
Sure, Commissioner Barcena,
Yes.
Commissioner Boado,
Yes.
and Vice Chairperson De La Rosa.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0.
Awesome. All right. Planning Secretary, will you please announce discussion item number 3?
At this time, we will go ahead and conduct the reorganization and selection of the chairperson and the vice chairperson. So it is staff's recommendation that the Planning Commission by motion organize and select a chairperson and vice chairperson. And at this time, I will now open the floor for nominations for the position of chairperson.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Any nominations on the floor?
And please note, you can nominate yourself.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Commissioner De La Rosa for chairperson.
Thank you very much. May I have a second?
I second that motion as well.
Thank you very much. Planning Secretary, will you please conduct a roll call vote?
Sure. If there's, if there's no other nominations, I can go ahead and take care of that.
right.
Commissioner Barcena,
Yes.
Commissioner Boado,
Yes.
and Vice Chairperson De La Rosa, which has now been appointed to chairperson.
All right. Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
And then I will now open the floor for nominations for the position of vice chairperson.
I nominate Commissioner Barcena as vice chair.
Awesome. I would like to second that. Planning Secretary, will you please conduct a roll call vote?
Sure. Okay, so the roll call vote would be Commissioner Boado,
Yes.
and then Vice Chairperson Barcena,
Yes.
and then Chairperson De La Rosa.
That'll be a yes. Congrats.
Congratulations.
All right, public comment is now open for items not listed on the Planning Commission agenda. Secretary, will please announce any instructions for public participation.
The members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on items not listed on the Planning Commission agenda. Please state your name for the record. Each speaker and comments are limited to 3 minutes. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone. When instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining us to the Zoom app may request to make a comment by using the raise hand feature on Zoom and select the unmute or microphone icon when instructed. We will begin to hear from members of the public that are physically present in the council chambers. If you haven't done so already, please submit your comment cards now. And Chairperson, we did not receive any comment cards.
Awesome. If there's no objection by the planning commission, I will now close public comment for non-agendized items.
Oh, sorry, and I also did want to mention, we did not have anybody in the chat line wishing to speak.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. Staff comments.
Yes, good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My first note will be that the last day to appeal the item you approved tonight is Thursday, November 30th, 2023 at 5:00 p.m. By way of announcements tonight, I include a recap of recent council and staff items. Congratulations are in order, first of all, for your reorganization, new chair and vice chair, and to our newly appointed commissioner, once and future Commissioner Leon, who was appointed to fill a vacancy on your planning commission. That happened November 13th, but on October 23rd, the second reading of ordinance number 937 occurred to accommodate vehicle parking storage for automobile repair facilities as standalone parking lots when in connection to or in the vicinity of automobile repair facilities, which we heard tonight as demonstrated. It's to allow developers and business owners opportunities to incorporate architectural and infrastructure design elements for identity and blending into existing community fabric. The SAISH PSA was approved, the professional services agreement, and the consultant is authorized to work with staff and on behalf of the city to promote the Federal Communication Commission's broadband affordable connectivity program, where eligible households may receive reduced rates for wireless connections. And then finally, for October 23rd, the Online Solutions LLC PSA was approved, and the consultant is authorized now to work with staff and on behalf of the city to develop an electronic permit tracking system and conduct its implementation. That's going to help a lot of folks file remotely and streamline processing of projects that you all see. On November 13th, the council authorized the closure of City Hall and city facilities from December 26th through the 28th, with offices reopening on January 2nd. Council also authorized the filing of grant applications to the Strategic Growth Council and to the U.S. Department of Transportation for the assessment of facilities required for Community Resilience Center and to participate in the Thriving Communities program put on by the Department of Transportation, respectively. The Strategic Growth Council's Community Resilience Center program is to fund new construction and upgrades of neighborhood-level resilience centers, which provide shelter and resources during climate and other emergency activity. And the Department of Transportation's Thriving Communities program is for urban and suburban communities located within metropolitan areas, working to better coordinate with transportation, with land use, housing, and economic development through technical assistance, planning, and capacity building. So those items were authorized to be filed, and staff's working on those two grant applications. And as previously mentioned, Councilmember Pulido appointed Andrew Leon, and our staff will be reaching out to him for the next steps to finalize his terms of service. So you should see him in January, no later than February. And biweekly report updates. The EJ element, to follow up on our discussion from the last study session for our draft goals, policies and programs, is expected in the coming weeks for staff review and public consumption shortly thereafter. So you guys will get that and have approximately 30 days or so to review it and consider it and be ready for a public hearing in January. So with that, December will be dark for items. So enjoy your holiday season, and we will see you next year at the regularly scheduled meeting of January 17th, 5:15 p.m. in the year 2024. So that ends staff comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, any comments?
I just want to express my gratitude and my excitement to continue serving this planning commission in my new role as vice chairperson.
Congratulations.
I just want to say congratulations to both of you. And also, want to remind everyone for Thanksgiving, so wish all of you a happy Thanksgiving and, I'm happy to be part of this commission. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the planning commission staff for all the hard work you guys do day in, day out. Wish you guys happy holidays and looking forward to continue working together. Thank you. If there's no objection by the members of the planning commission, I will now adjourn the meeting at 5:46. Any objections? No objections. Thank you very much.